It's not a really good sign when a movie is made in 2009, supposed to come out in 2010, doesn't get a release for 2 years later. Red Dawn was actually supposed to come out in 2010, but I don't really want to blame the movie because the studio that was actually distributing it, MGM, was having some horrible issues. The movie got shelved. And now, in 2012, it has been released. Yes, it's a remake of an 80s, well, some people would call a classic. I would just call a really cool 80s movie with a lot of great actors in their early days, including, I believe, Patrick Swayze, Leah Thompson, Charlie Sheen. But I own the film. I enjoy it. I love the scene that haunts me the most in that film is when they're in the classroom and they're looking out the window and they see all these parachutes coming down. And I like that whole concept of another country coming in and taking over. It's quite frightening and disturbing for me. But that whole story of them rising up and getting back against their oppressors. I'm not a person who is upset when movies are remade, unless it's some certain films. In the case of Red Dawn, the 2012 version, it is kind of a rehash of what the original version was, but in that one it was Russia, and now it's the North Korea. Yes, they changed that too. It was Chinese, and now it's North Korea that's taking over America. Chris Hemsworth, pre-Thor Chris Hemsworth, and pre-Hunger Games, Josh Hutcherson or something like that, star in this movie with a guy named Josh Peck, who I believe was in a movie called The Whackness. I don't know what else he's done. I'm not familiar with his work. He's just not a very good actor. He was quite stiff in this movie and quite dull to watch. I felt like he was I was really scared. Once he showed up on the scene, I was like, I was gonna dig this movie. I was kind of invested. I kind of cared. Well, Chris Thor's in the movie, so let's focus on him. And there's a really awesome scene like the original where parachutes come out of the sky. All this great action starts happening. Now, I wouldn't put this on par with some of the greatest action movies ever made. I looked at this as pulp fun, like cheesy pulp excitement, fun, entertaining. I tried to not take it too seriously. I was like, okay, I'm just going to have a good time. What's that? That's on the camera. Look at that. I realized if I don't take this movie too seriously, like I didn't take the original film, I think I'm going to have a really good time because this film does have energy. It has excitement. It has a really beautiful looking cast. I think if you take this movie too seriously, you're not going to enjoy it. But for me, I just love that whole storyline of people being oppressed and rising up and just killing everyone just to get out of the situation that they're in. And for that, I enjoyed the movie. It was fun. I can't deny that I actually had a really enjoyable time watching this movie. I laughed a few times. The audience cheered a few times. I didn't cheer, but I was right there with them going, that's a really good moment to cheer. Some of the acting is kind of phony, especially from Mr. Peck. But I think Chris is really good in this movie, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan is also in the film, and he's cool when he comes and he shows up with these tough Marines. It's not going to change the face of action films anytime soon. It's not something that I'll ever see again. But for the time that I was there, I felt invested. I cared about the characters. If they would have died, I would have maybe been a little sad. Not too much. I didn't want to go crazy. I didn't want to shed tears over these people. But for the most part, I actually enjoyed this movie. I thought this movie was a really good remake of a film that I enjoyed growing up watching on television and on video, and now I have it on DVD, and I'm curious to go back and watch it. I don't think the cast is memorable as the 80s cast, but of course a lot of these people that are in this movie have gone on to make really cool films recently, and I see that they're going to continue to make. I don't know what this Josh Peck guy's up to. I don't know if he's going to have a career after this. doing something. Maybe he's doing something on television, because this movie was made 3 years ago. So for that, I enjoyed it for that factor. I had a good time. I wasn't offended. I wasn't like rolling my eyes like I was expected to do, because this movie's getting a lot of hate. And that's fine. If you see this movie and you don't like it, so be it. I'm not going to say it's a guilty pleasure, because I kind of liked it more than a guilty pleasure. I'm not guilty. I don't feel guilty for actually enjoying this movie and giving this a little bit of praise. I wish this movie was longer. It does end in a way where it looks like there might be a sequel, but since this was made 2 or 3 years ago, I don't expect a sequel. And I don't know if this movie makes money, maybe they'll go back and make a sequel. I'm going to give Red Dawn, the 2012 remake, 3 stars. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I'm also on Twitter and Facebook. And please go to WeLiveFilm.com and subscribe right here on YouTube to We Live Film. And also go to WhoYouTube.com.
It's a tough beat, but somebody's got it.
Now let me try and do my impression of Josh Peck acting. Go! We gotta go over there! We have to get out of here! I gotta save my girlfriend!